Hello, peoples. We are watching Revenge of the Jedi. Return of the.
Return of the Sith.
Wait,
No.
wait a minute. What? One of those third movies. We're watching Last Crusade. That's what. That would be awesome, actually, because I think Last Crusade is my favorite indie movie. But
Rise of the Jedi is a good one too. So no, wait, that's not right.
Rise of the Jedi. Okay, cool. Hello, Mark. But yes, we are watching Return of the Jedi tonight. Along with me is Senor Jefe. How are you, Jefe?
Good.
Hello, peoples. Hello, Mike. Hello, Dave. Hello, Cindy from Arizona. Hope everything is okay in Arizona. We are waiting for our good friend Kevin Thompson to join us tonight. For those who don't know Kevin Thompson, first and foremost, have you been living under a rock? That's the first thing, if you've been in this group. But he was Chirbe the Ewok, as well as pretty much every stunt Ewok in Jedi, which is pretty cool. So hopefully he'll tell some familiar stories, some new anecdotes, but it's always a fun time when we have Kevin on one of our shows. And there's been someone was asking whether or not Scooby was asking whether or not there's been a white cat running around. Has there been a white cat running around?
Should be an Ewok, but
Yes. I don't know if we can find a white cat. We'll let you know.
They're very elusive.
Yes.
Oh, we have guests or guests.
Speaking
Speaking
of elusive.
Hey guys.
Hello,
Howdy.
Kevin.
What's happening?
How are you?
Well, I'm always just so technically disadvantaged. Thank God my son's here, so I wanted to make sure that I got on.
Well,
hey Wyatt, how are you?
Doing good, man. How are you?
Good. Glad to hear your voice and glad that you're doing okay in the middle of the plague.
Surviving. That's all you can do.
Yeah. That's good.
He's building a telescope right now.
Ooh,
that's
that's kind of cool.
I wouldn't call it building. I just got it shipped to me. I don't know if you guys want to check this out.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, it's a little dark. But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so you can't even see it all.
Oh, here.
Yeah.
I'll
Oh wow.
Oh, there you go.
It was one of those impulse buys that you get on. You start going through like the Reddit rabbit holes, and I'm like, you know what I want to do during the pandemic? I want to look at some moons. I want to look at some
planets.
So nothing better to do.
Idea.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, you might as well. You might as well.
With Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, it's always good. It's always good with Star Wars to be looking at stars.
Yeah.
I see some wars.
Yeah, exactly.
So last time we were all chatting, we were just talking about this a while ago. We were chatting about obviously with your friend and WandaVision. What was your thoughts on that last episode with the reveals?
Oh, that was cool. Did you see that one coming?
Well, I kind of knew there was we all thought it was Agatha Harkness, so that was kind of like. But the fact that the Munster type theme, with that was just pretty awesome.
Well, what's really neat is he's really paying homage to all these different. You have to watch it because he was on a sitcom. That's when I worked with him on Just the 10 of Us, and he was the young boy. It was Bill Kirkenbauer was the dad. Deborah Harmon was the mom. Heather Langenkamp, Brooke Theiss. I forget some of the other actresses who played the sisters, but it was never. He was always like and we'll give him this bit, and we'll give him that bit. But he was really big into, he knew the sitcom world. So it's neat that he's doing bits and pieces like it's a sitcom. You know, like the beginnings were a lot, I thought were a lot like Dick Van Dyke.
Right.
You know, so some people like it, some people don't. You know, it's a creative choice, and that's what's nice.
No, absolutely. Jeff, are you still there?
What? I'm here. I'm
are you
not
on
a
trial? Are you doing a deposition?
Evan, I'm here. I'm here. I gotta.
He did this on Tuesday all night. It was. I fell out of my chair. I was laughing.
It's so funny the way the eyes go on that bit with that lawyer. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Lawyer's going, no, really, I'm trying to get rid of this. It's like not the best time to be a to do that type of thing. Yeah, to be a lawyer at that time. The judge was not amused.
No.
It was fun.
Yes.
Anyway.
We were talking about the fact that it should have been an Ewok. That would be fantastic for tonight.
Oh yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's above my pay grade to do all those types of things.
Right. So thank you very much for he is a cat. He's using a human filter the entire time. There you go. You had Ewok.
Somebody else's face though, which is really weird. I don't like that. It's pretty freaky looking.
Yeah.
Let's forget about that one.
But we're very glad to have you on with us again tonight to watch Jedi. So thank you very much, Kevin.
Oh, good. Well,
yes, definitely.
Hey, it's one of my favorite movies.
So I hope you're not biased or anything about that.
No, I am.
Yeah.
Okay. Very much. It's complete nepotism. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. It's like one of those things, and it is one of those things of different Ewoks will come in and say, "Well, they'll be selling their pictures," and then you find out that all their scenes were cut out of them.
Oh,
right.
And they're selling my pictures, and it's like, it's funny, buddy. You're signing that picture. That's great if that person, but did you tell them that that's not you? That's me. So it's like, just to let the buyer beware. That's just one of those things. It was this one guy from England was showing, he was signing the me swinging into the village shot. And I was like, wow, that's me, right? Yeah, they don't care. No, actually, the fans, that's the thing about Star Wars fans and any fan base of any genre, they do care,
Exactly.
Right.
You don't want a Doctor Who signing the wrong Doctor Who. It's a Doctor Who. So
But here's the thing about that kind of scenario is that, especially since being an Ewok, which Ewoks you were.
yes.
But the thing is, if you're you're playing Boba Fett, obviously there was between 6 to 8 different actors who were in the suit. You just got to figure out what scene that was. You can figure out who the actor was,
Right.
Or Rogue One with Vader, because there's 2 Vaders in that. But it's the same outfit. It's not like it's a different outfit. Like
Yeah.
How many Ewoks were you in this movie?
5.
So you at least know that you were at least 5, and you know exactly.
But
what
I'm in
outfit.
probably of the scenes itself. I'm probably. Somebody said I was Deej. I'm like, no, Deej is Dan Frischman. And so I was Deej before Dan because he was in the Ewok movies. That when I blow the horn and when I pull the rope for the rocks to come flying out to trip the ATSD.
Right.
I pull the rope and all the rocks go down, and the logs come down, and he slips on that one. That's me. And they said, "Oh no, that's Deej." I'm like, I'm not gonna sign Deej. I'll sign me, but I won't sign Chubray. It's like,
right.
that's me, but it's not. And unlike the hornblower is supposedly that, but the other guy that chops
Logs?
the thing for the logs to blow up the ATSD, he hasn't been named yet.
Right.
The guy swinging into the village has not been named yet. And let's see, another one of the very beginning when we jumped the Ewok, the stormtroopers, when they come up to C-3PO and R2-D2. There's like 4 of us that jump on the stormtroopers right there.
Right.
Those guys haven't been named. It's just and a lot of the one where I go flying off a mini trap after an explosion.
Right.
He dies. Everybody goes, "Are you the one that dies?" I said, I died like 5 times.
Right.
I don't have the death scene that Debbie Carrington had.
Right.
The other guy, the one guy died, yes, but all he did was fall down. That's Debbie Carrington had the scene.
Yeah.
Debbie
Exactly.
Okay, so
Carrington
here,
was, one of the saddest scenes in movie history.
Yeah.
okay, which is sadder, that or the R-Trek scene from Never Ending Story when the horse dies in?
Oh yeah, there it is. See, well, it's apples and oranges.
Yeah. People could say
that guy
both scenes.
he
Both
has
scenes screwed up people's childhood.
You have to look at it though, as she's doing this scene. Hand it to Debbie Carrington. She did this scene with no, it was all body. There was no face, it was just a mask, and she portrayed that, and she was an extra.
Wow.
She was getting $100 a day. That was it.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah. And she didn't get bumped up for that scene. And that's one of the most memorable scenes of not just the movie, but of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
if you have not seen this movie, I'm shocked. But we're gonna get started. I know there's been a lot of spoiler alerts already. But I'm sure there'll be plenty more throughout the show. So why don't we start the 10-second countdown? Are you ready, Kevin?
I'm ready.
Okay, ready?
Good to go.
Bonesaw ready? Cool. Okay. In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Play. Now, Kevin, how long after the debut, the premiere, did it take for you to get the name of Chirbe?
Anaheim. Well, no, it was, I think, I forget who it was that brought in the toy. But it had been, Wyatt was too old to be going shopping for toys. So, and it was at Kmart.
Oh,
so
wow.
who goes looking for Star Wars toys at Kmart? That's the of course. You've got 10 years on me, so yeah, you're about that. Yeah.
We used to do runs to all the different stores for action figures.
Well, yeah, fans of that. I didn't, and we're shopping for something else, and I didn't even know that those toys were out. Nobody said anything to me about it, and it wasn't until a fan came up while I was signing in Anaheim, and they brought it up, and I'm sorry I don't remember his name. It was a man, and I can say an older man because he was older than 21, and I was like, I looked at this thing and I went, "That's me," and he goes, "I know. That's why I brought it up." And I went, "No, that's me. That's me. I have a name." And he goes, "I know. That's why I brought it up."
Wow. So it took from when that figure came out, which was probably in the 90s, wouldn't it have been?
Right, probably.
Until 2015 before you knew that.
Right.
So it's Celebration Anaheim.
83. And I would get so much from everybody else always saying, "Well, it says Ewok Warrior and Cheekev that's not you. I was like, yes. Are you Chief Chirpa? Chief Chirpa's woman. No, I'm not. No. So it's like, I got ribbed by my friends a lot.
Well,
I can imagine.
Yeah.
look at that Death Star.
You know, it's very interesting to if you're thinking about the time frame of like within Star Wars, were they actually, while they were building Death Star 1, did they start doing a second one, like we were trying to like build like an armada of Death Stars at that time?
I have to say, you have to give
Just
it to those guys.
looks too far along.
Yeah. He started really, you know, if you look at the construction going on our freeways, it takes forever to get a bridge built. These guys have, you know, 1 million people on this Death Star, and it's almost built. So I don't know. It's all their tax dollars are going to this. You know, cigarette tax, and
OSHA did a
property
horrible job at
tax,
both of them.
all that. You know, nobody talks about that. You know, all the other planets saying,
Depending
we got to pay all our taxes for them to build this.
contractors. Yeah. Sure. So we actually got our first question of the night from John Notman. And he asked, Kevin, what was your favorite scene to shoot while filming on Endor?
My favorite scene to shoot, I have to say the explosion scene, because I got to beat out all the other little guys for it. And I was for the it was a mini tramp, and I had done mini tramp in high school and gymnastic team, and I knew how to do a mini tramp. A lot of times to do a mini tramp, you can easily break your neck. And it's an explosion scene. So we all tried out, all the stunt guys tried out for it, and one by one, they realized they couldn't do it. And so by default, I was the one that, it was actually a competition, and I won that competition. Because one, I knew how to do mini tramp, and they didn't. I had to do a dive roll, but time it with the explosion. The special effects guy, it was a mortar about the size of a 4-inch mortar behind me. It was at that, and I jumped off of a 10-foot platform blindly onto a 6-inch pad, you know, like a mini tramp, those little itty bitty, how the gymnasts do it like a basketball game, and they do all these flips. So I just had to step off into basically and trust it, because easily if I'd been a 1/2 inch either way, I probably would have either sprained my ankle or broken my leg. But I hit it perfect. The special effects guy hits the detonator right at the right time, and movie magic was done in one take.
Oh, that's great.
You know, and I had to go over. I had to travel a good 10 feet over another set of redwood logs that were laying sideways to hide the whole contraption that we had just set up, the mini tramp and the mortar. And so it just looked like a stormtroopers had blasted me, and I was flying through the air.
That's incredible.
Spoiler alert.
Now, is there a separate division within SAG or AFTRA for stunt work?
No, I mean, you're both on the contract. You're a contracted player. They're separate but the same. A lot of times the heavy next to the lead of like a John Wayne, he's talking to a bad guy, or say Harrison Ford's talking to another bad guy. The heavies a lot of times next to him they don't say anything, but then they're going almost like a red shirt in the in Star Trek. You know they're going to get killed. So whether they fall down or do this elaborate death scene, you can tell
Mhm.
which one's a stunt guy or which one's not.
Right.
You know, like Dickie Bear, Mike Cassidy, Larry Holt were on the shoot for and played multiple different characters of the stormtroopers, and were different. And then there were Gamorrean guards, and then there were, you know, it all depends on how long. Different stunt guys have said there was a guy named Buck McDancer, old time driver. He did like Blues Brothers,
Oh, nice.
and
Okay.
it was all these guys were lined up and they did all these car crashes. And the guy would do a car crash, and the doctor would come over and look at their eyes and say, "Nope, you're done. You got a concussion. You're done for the movie. You're done." And he goes, we were talking one, and he goes, "I'm the oldest guy there, and I made it through all of them. I didn't get the concussion." It's like, well, how many crashes? He goes, "I don't know. I just stayed on." And it was just an amazing that he just, you know, it's just it very easily you roll the car, you crash it head first, you get the concussion, you're out. You know,
Right.
and so that's what, and the stunt guys, instead of getting they get an adjustment. That's how they make their more money. And like an actor will come in at a higher rate instead
Wow.
of just getting a scale. So a stunt guy comes in at scale and then says, "This is my rate," unless they're a very, very prominent stunt guy. They can ask for, if I'm doing a day, I'm getting a week.
Oh, nice.
And it says, "Well, I'm not going to pay that." So that's fine. I got someone else who will. And
That's
if you
incredible.
want me, it all depends on your worth as much as you're worth.
Right.
You
Right.
know, if you're a left-handed pitcher in the right market, you're getting $300 million. The
Right.
wrong market, you're getting not as much.
Exactly.
So, so Jeff, do you think that Bib Fortuna
Breaking up.
is eyeballing Jabba's throne?
You're
I was
totally
asking, do you
breaking.
think Bib Fortuna is eyeing that chair?
Oh, that's a very good possibility.
Oh, spoiler,
Oh,
maybe?
there it
I
is.
don't know. Ah, you got your Salacious Crumb.
Getting locked
That's
over
awesome.
here.
I forget his the guy who designed that,
This
the Salacious Crumb, was supposed to be the puppeteer on it, but he, I think, broke his leg, and he wasn't able to be the puppeteer on this movie.
Oh, wow.
But he designed that whole thing. He's a puppeteer for Henson for years and did all sorts of other things.
This is
And
Darth.
I know his name. We
Really?
did 3 offhand. I can't think of it. We did 3 Comic-Cons like back to back.
Oh, right. C-3PO, so betrayed. So you,
A PA on this job, Ian Bryce, who now is an executive producer, did, Saving Private Ryan. He came over in between doing Star Wars. He was when they would take C-3PO and R2-D2 out, and he got the job because he was skinny enough that he could fit in the costume.
oh,
Oh, wow.
And so he did the whole mall tour when they were doing those mall tours in the
Oh, right.
late 70s,
Right.
early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And then he became a PA, and then George realized that he was a very good worker. And it's one of those, you get your foot in the door, and you stay if you're good enough. You may get your foot in the door and you might get kicked back out. But if you're good enough,
Right.
you know what you're doing. And Ian's had a very nice career.
That's cool.
We have a question from Mike for you. Did they ever announce what the B stands for in Salacious B. Crumb?
Not that I know of. Kirk Thatcher would probably know,
Right.
or anybody that worked in the cantina, or Jabba's
Palace, yeah.
Jabba's lair,
Palace.
palace. Yeah, it's
call it.
palace.
Or,
Or the
sail
skiff.
barge,
What's the
too,
skiff
yeah.
called?
Sail
The
barge.
sail barge.
Right. I love the fact that they have is basically in charge of all the workers come back and be the bartender at Mos Eisley's Cantina in Mandalorian. I just think it was,
Oh,
a
yeah.
nice touch.
That was. It was the same bartender. Well, they're big fans,
yeah, it
which
was,
is fun too.
It's EVD9, according to Catherine Cook.
Yeah, that's
And I thought that was obviously a great little spoiler that Mark Hamill did the voice in Mandalorian. So it's nice to tie him into that earlier on than just last episode, season 2. So what was your thoughts on the special edition, honestly? Did you like the changes, or were you like, it was fine as it was?
They only ask for, there's some things that it's like fixing a Picasso.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes too much is, you had that, everything was great. And then you add a little bit too much salt, or, but some people like that salt. If you haven't had that recipe already, or a little bit too much of this or that. That was my opinion. You didn't need it, but if some people like it, some people it's art. And so it's, some people aren't Star Wars fans and some people are. And it's, to me, it was like, I didn't get asked to be in it, so no, I didn't like them at all.
I mean, I'm not kissing ass or anything of that nature, but I absolutely prefer the original Yub Dub song during the celebration, as opposed to the new one. To me, that's what I grew up on, and I still look for it. I mean, watching the scene in the Jabba's palace, having the Max Rebo band having more members than the original 3, to me, is still out of place.
Right. Then you got the guy, wailing on a harmonica, and you're like, no, I don't remember that. I remember, I still, that still brings that back, that whole almost 40s kind of era, almost like it's kind of like a,
like swing.
like Dean Martin is the Rat Pack.
Yeah,
kind of
it's
thing.
like, almost like a bootleggers type of swing band.
Exactly. I would have liked to have seen a guy, more like a New Orleans jazz piano player come out and do that. A guy on a bass fiddle,
Sure.
We did get Jabba's dancers out of the special edition, though. So
that's great, but the fact is, they could have very easily done dancers with the original Max Rebo band.
Yeah, they overpacked it.
I do recall meeting Simon Williamson at a con, and he was saying that Max Rebo actually plays with his feet, which I thought was always very interesting.
But then again, if George has enough money to go out and give more people work, great. Everybody gets some more work, which is great for that.
Yeah.
I don't like that other people now are saying, well, I was an Ewok. It's like, that doesn't count. That doesn't count. We were 5 weeks, an hour and a half north of Eureka, California. We earned our every dollar we made, And every time that, it was a tough job, but we were happy to do it.
Right.
You know.
I mean, besides the fact that it was obviously the third movie in a trilogy,
Mhm.
but how special was it just to be making a Star Wars movie in general? I mean, forget about the fact that it was the third movie. The fact that it was a Star Wars movie.
No, my pants were moving.
Mhm.
I was a Star Wars
There you go.
fan, and so I was
Right.
excited. I was like, oh, but I
Yeah.
couldn't tell anybody. I couldn't tell a soul.
Right.
I'd signed a non-disclosure form.
What
Couldn't
was
tell
the
anybody about what was going on. But it was
the code name for Jedi? Was there like a Blue Harvest type code name?
Blue Harvest. Everything was. We had hats. We had shirts. We had all the decorate on all the trucks.
So
Also,
even
Blue Harvest.
so was that for all three productions, or was that just for the second
Just
and
Jedi.
third?
And it was
Jedi?
only because somebody had stolen the script of Empire, and I want to say leaked it to a radio station, and the radio station let everybody know before everybody. And he looked at it as not as in warfare of like big business and the studios of stealing secrets. He looked at it more as George did, as he's ruined it for the fans.
Yeah.
The fans want to come into this movie and then went, oh my gosh, what has just happened? What did Darth Vader just say to Luke Skywalker? Wait a minute, what's going on here? And all the other things that go on. And he didn't like that was ruined for
Right.
You didn't get the movie experience.
Yeah,
somebody told you the end of the book.
Exactly.
And so he wanted to make sure that Jedi was not that. Nobody would find out the ending. So hence then everything became very secret of everything that he did, because the fan base became so almost like Willy Wonka's in the Chocolate Factory. It was
Rabbit.
what's he making now? What's Willy Wonka making now?
Right.
And we all
Wasn't
were waiting.
Dave Prowse part of that too? That whole conspiracy?
I don't know about that. I couldn't answer that one. Maybe some of your the viewers can say that.
Yeah, because I think that's one of the reasons why he Lucasfilm was upset with him. Was because I think he leaked it to a radio station or something like that. I think I remember hearing something about that. Have you seen "I Am Your Father," the documentary about Dave Prowse?
No, I have not.
It's absolutely fantastic. It's talking about how he felt about the whole Sebastian Shaw scenario. That initially he was supposed to get the payoff, and he didn't know until the day of shooting that he was not playing. Yeah, and he was barred from the set. So
which is you're the greatest villain of arguably of all time, and you now all of a sudden don't even get to show your face, which is tough.
Yeah,
which is very tough. You've done this this whole time, and
well, first he was expecting to hear his voice, and now he's expecting to see his face, and neither of them happened. But we did get his great body language and emoting. So
well, the one thing that they added on to in "I Am Your Father" is, and they couldn't show it, but they reshot that scene with Dave Prowse. They couldn't show the documentary because of the licensing with Lucasfilm, but they gave him the opportunity to finally, to do the scene. Which is great for him. But it's still kind of like, if you look at, he didn't know James Earl Jones was doing the voice, in the first movie, and then they did the same thing actually with Solo, with the guy who originally did the voice of Maul in Phantom Menace, and then he went to the premiere and didn't know that Sam Witwer recorded as well, and they decided to switch it up.
It's one of those things you don't realize that. I've been very lucky with a lot of my different costume that I've had to do. I've really worked at the voice and been lucky enough that the director, he's tried other voices going, and then he goes, we're just going to go back to Kev.
Yeah.
He did it,
Right.
I was lucky in that. And like Garbage Pail Kids, I did Alligator, not only the body, but the voice. And in Spaced Invaders, I did the body of Blasny and the voice as the only Martian to get the voice.
Right.
They're two not that great of movies, but I was glad that as they're talking, it's not somebody else's voice coming out of me.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And it probably was, it's to his dying day. I'm sure David Prowse was, mad as heck that it could have, he had a chance and he didn't get it.
Exactly.
So we had another question from John for you. How long were you over in London for production? And do you have any great story, hanging out with the crew during the shooting?
We were there just for 5 days. We were changing the costumes up for the stunts to get those things done. Probably the funniest story was J.R. Randall he knew that all the village stuff was done in 7 days.
Mm-hmm.
So it took us 5 weeks to do the battle, but it was 7 days of the village. So it was done actually pretty quick. And we got there, we flew in on a Monday and flew out on a Friday. And it was basically to get better gripping for our hands, something for our feet, shoes, and a different padding so we could move around more, because we were going to be doing much more physical stuff than the village stuff. But yet we still had to look like the Ewok, the chubbiness of all that for the Ewok. And when the four of us were walking in, the four of us who were going over there was Felix, myself, and two guys who didn't do the movie. They found other work after that, was Bobby Porter and Jimmy Briscoe. And Bobby Porter became a stunt coordinator on the movie called The Toy, and Jimmy Briscoe did a Italian movie about the same time. He actually never saw until, I want to say, 5 years ago. So he did a movie, Missed Out Jedi, and but when we were walking into the set for the very first time, the Ewoks, who were all dressed, took a look over at us and went, "Who are these guys?" Because we're all in street clothes and everybody else has been there for a couple of hours working. And, we're on a little bit more of a banker's hours to come in than to be there early. And they're like, so one of the guys goes, "Hey, who are you guys? New recruits?" But in a little bit more of a Cockney accent. "Hey, we're yours. A couple of new recruits." I went, "Oh no, we're here to do all you guys' stunts." Crickets. They looked at me and they looked at the rest of the guys and they went,
"Okay."
And I was 22. I was a young kid. I was a brash, I would look right at him and say, "Fine, you want to do the stunt? You're going to kill yourself. I can do it." That's how I was kind of that type of some of that, but it was more of I can say that because I don't know I don't want them to try and be able to beat me out in it, but what are we going to be able to do with this outfit? Because it's the first time that I actually saw the outfit of this round, rotund bear. And it's like, holy smokes, we're supposed to be doing battles and that? Whoa, that's going to be intense. And so I think probably that one was the biggest one. And then meeting Warwick Davis, of just being an 11, 12-year-old kid. And he was just as nice, and there was a reason why they brought him over. He was just such the wonderment of, "Oh, hello, how are you? What does you do? Oh, you're in wardrobe. Isn't that wonderful? You make all the clothes that we're going to be wearing. That's brilliant. Oh, that's wonderful." And what do? I am a construction. Construction. That's brilliant. You build everything that we're standing on. So what we're standing on right now, you built. That's fascinating. You know, that's Warwick.
Great positive attitude.
Yes,
absolutely.
very much.
So tell us about the experience of when you got called for the first Ewok movie. How'd that come about?
They had there were several people who had you know, not been the best of people, so they weren't called. And it was just they just said, we're doing this project. It's not with Star Wars, it's a standalone, it's just the Ewoks, it's gonna be Warwick, and we're gonna have other things. And so on the fly, I just created a character because they put us in the outfit and they did a screen test, and George, I guess, picked out which ones he liked and which characters that he did. It just happened that Daniel Frischman, who played Deej, is a Shakespearean actor, and he really brought that out to be the dad, and it was, you know, wonderful in that. And then Debbie, of course, was brought back as the older brother, and which was great because that was a great nod to her for her portrayal. George always liked her best in the outfits. And Tony Cox was brought in as the other brother. And Tony is the Ewok that is on the speeder bike that on the speeder bike, it starts with Kenny Baker, steals it. Then it becomes, does all the stunt work is Tony Cox. And then I fly off of it. I'm the one who swings off of it. So
Oh, wow.
we're the three that are on that. And so it was perfect that he got that part as the other brother. And so they said, well, they didn't say woodsman. They said, can you just give us something? And I just started on a character kind of like Santa Claus, but a jovial, almost like a Huss Cartwright of a big guy, because I knew that I was one of the big guys. And so I was just a jovial type of guy. And that's what they liked. And then all of a sudden I read the script and I found out who I was. I was never really given a proper audition of this is what I want you to do. It's just, I just happened to hit it then. You know, and that whole death scene that we did with that one, I did, you know, as I'm reading, I'm going, oh, wow, I die. It's actually, I do a death scene. Wow, this is cool. And I worked with, Eric Walker on that scene. We'd worked with it. The two of us worked with it in our hotel rooms of doing that. So when we went to John Cordy to watch that, we were ready for that movie. I mean, that scene, and we had worked it out right with us of what was going on to bring that emotion out that Eric had when I die and give him the axe. I hope that Netflix picks that up or somebody picks that up. It's such a, you know, if Disney doesn't want it, it should, you know, if it's a free agent, somebody should pick it up. Right. It hasn't been seen for, you know, you can't even get it on DVD or it's like bad things on YouTube. Right. But hopefully,
who owns the rights for it? I mean, does Lucasfilm own the rights?
It's still Lucas. Lucas still owns it. It's just Disney didn't. You know, it was they. I don't know if it's. You know, there are a lot of people still like it. So hopefully,
special edition, sort of
get a special edition and just release it on Netflix. And
I mean,
I'm sure kids will watch it. It was made for Amanda Lucas. And it was made, people say it's a kids movie. It's like, because it was made for Amanda Lucas. That's what we did it for. You know, when you're a filmmaker and you have a lot of money and you're going, my daughter likes Ewoks. Let's make an Ewok movie.
Yeah.
You know, people are expecting Empire Strikes Back. Amanda Lucas didn't want an Empire Strikes Back. She wanted an Ewok movie.
Right.
Yeah, she had to be very young at that point, right?
She had 4. She was 4 years old, 4 or 5 years old.
Oh wow.
That's what I mean. That's what that's what the movie was saying. So that's who it's made for.
Right.
Other people still like it. Older parents and things like that like it. But it's a neat thing now for those generations to watch it. But we'll see what happens.
Well, especially since there's so much coming out, and fans are more into those deep cuts, if you want to think about it like that.
Oh yeah. But it was all right. Here's something. We were going down to San Diego, and Tracy, my wife, says, "Hey, we haven't stopped. What is Star Wars Outpost? Should we have you ever been there?" I said, "No, but a lot of the guys from the 501st have talked about it, and let's go." So we pay our $10 and park. Oh, it is a store. Basically, it's a store at the Star Wars at the Disney, downtown Disney. So you pay your $10 so you can spend more money at their stores, basically.
Right.
But for Star Wars, for the Outpost, you have to take a number and sign up, and they will text you when you can get in line to get in. And I said, "Oh, it'll be about an hour." So we go over to the restaurant, we have a sandwich, and no text yet. And we're going down to San Diego. So Tracy and I talked to one of the cast members, and they said, "Well, it should be, they'll just call you soon." I said, "Well, what's in there? What exactly exciting in there?" It says, "Well, there's costumes, and there's a lightsaber, and there's R2D2. And I'm like, "So it's a store?" And they said, "Yeah, it's a store." I said, "So there's not really anything going on there. It's just a store." They said, "Yeah, it's a store."
How long ago
Tracy and I looked at each other and said, "So we're waiting in line to get in, to go into a store to spend money. Do you want to spend money in the store? Not really. Do you want anything? Not, hate to say it, but not really." So we go back, we're thinking, "Oh, they're going to text us." As we go back, they're going to text us. We get in the car, no text. We drive all the way down to San Diego, no text. We check into we're spending the weekend at a place. We check in, no text. We unpack our stuff. We get a text. "Hey, you can get in line." That's how long we would have waited.
Wow.
That was 2.5 hours. Over 2.5 hours. It was, I want to say it was closer to 3 hours from the time we put our name in. So just in case you want to go to Star Wars Outpost, be prepared to wait, and then wait again.
Was this the new version of the Outpost that's in the Rainforest Cafe?
This is the new version of the Outpost that's in the Rainforest Cafe. Yes.
Yeah, you can, if you really want to see what's in there, since you didn't get in, you can watch my live stream that I posted to the celebration page.
Okay, there it is. Let's watch.
I went a couple times last week, and it was the preview, so we had already had our time arranged, and we just basically
which is much better.
Yeah, I did a live stream of picking up a saber for one of the people in the chat. I got him the Count Dooku Darth Tyrannus saber, which is
White got a fighting saber back in LA, Star Wars LA, and we never broke it yet, so it still works.
Oh, nice.
And it was when the fighting sabers first came out.
Oh wow.
Some of those can take a licking.
Yeah,
the regular ones that Disney makes can't, but that's beside the point.
And they said where Jeff forgot his rewards card.
What
They're
was
talking
that?
about how the fact that Mr. Notman said that you forgot your rewards card
For
when you were buying the saber.
oh yeah,
Oh, you were.
I checked out because the guy didn't ask me if I was a pass holder, so I forgot to give it to him until I got the receipt and realized I hadn't got my discount. The saber wasn't going to get a discount, but the other stuff was, so had to go back through a whole thing. Anyways, fun times.
Yes. So what I think is going to be very interesting to happen is they just announced that Donald Glover just signed a multi-year contract with Netflix, and they're already planning this Lando show. So it's going to be very interesting to see whether or not he comes back to do that, or if that's a conflict of interest or anything. But having a multi-year contract with a different streaming service, or I wonder how they're going to do that.
You know what? I think they'll just try and work it around. It's not, you don't have the studio system like they did before, where they would rent different actors. He'll just be, he's not going to, his social life will be on the set and
He'll have to arrange a lot of time to do his work.
Basically, he's going to get to know his Teamster driver, and he's going to get to know his makeup artist. And if you're a friend of Donald Glover or Donald Glover, then if you're part of his crew, then you're working. If you're his makeup person, his hair person, his Teamster driver, you're working. My son just got me into Community. He is hilarious in that.
Oh yeah, he's great.
That whole group is just hilarious. I didn't realize when Wyatt was telling me that it's the same. The creator of Community is also the creator of Rick and Morty.
Yeah, Dan Harmon.
Yeah.
And also his producing partners on that show were the Russo brothers, who did many Avengers and Marvel movies. Well, not Avengers per se, but they did Civil War and Winter Soldier. No.
And they've done a lot of TV too. I've worked with them in TV.
They've done a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, usually one of them is director and one of them is the writer.
Right. They're a good team. They do.
Yeah.
They did the Avengers. They did it. Yeah. They did Infinity War and Endgame.
Oh, they did both of those?
Yep.
Okay, well, I know they did the Winter Soldier before that, so.
Oh.
Right.
But that's a fun series. We've been binge watching that.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Well, I'm very excited about.
Too.
I'm very excited about going back to Winter Soldier, the Falcon and Winter Soldier, which comes out in 3 weeks. That's gonna be a fun show.
Oh, that should be.
It's only 6
see what happens.
How many more episodes of WandaVision? 2 more.
2, and they're doing a thing called Assemble, which is gonna be like a gallery, like a behind-the-scenes roundtable.
Is that only one episode as well?
Yeah.
Matt
Matt
Shackman is also the, if anybody didn't realize, he's the artistic director at the Geffen Theater here in LA.
Oh, wow.
He has a big, he's not only, he did a lot of underground theater. So he's got a neat foray, and I'm glad he's getting some success right now. He's been doing a lot of things that people didn't realize that he was such a talented guy.
Right.
Well-rounded.
Mm-hmm. Very.
Well, it's going to be very interesting that there's literally something Marvel coming out every week for the rest of this year, whether it's a television show on Disney Plus or a movie in the theaters or on Disney Plus Premium. So it's going to be a very big year. But I'm very excited that they announced the other day that Bad Batch, the Clone Wars offshoot cartoon, comes out on May the 4th.
Right.
So that's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm bummed I missed the pre-order of the Wrecker Black Series figure from that show and those characters. I've ever since they did the first like lost footage thing with the Bad Batch, before they even did their full episodes, I've been into that character specifically. I need to do that armor. Build me some new armor.
Absolutely.
In time for Anaheim 22.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely have a variation of a Mandalorian for that, and maybe some other stuff. Hopefully, I've just been lazy on my builds lately.
So we have a question already for from Jason in our group for you, Kevin. He wanted to say, what has been your impression of the Disney era of Star Wars?
I actually like it. I mean, Rogue One, it's you put some new brains into it. Of you have fans who grew up on Star Wars, and you have people saying this is the way I would like it. You know, a lot of people didn't like Rian Johnson the way that he did his stuff, or Rian Johnson the way he did his stuff. But then when you really dissect it, it's like, wow, yeah, I could see, you know, no matter what Luke did, evil was still winning. No matter what he did, evil still won. And so, you know, like any, you know, old man of, the heck with it. The heck with it. What does it matter? What is the meaning of life? I got to go, you know, get my ducks in a row here and do something. You know, he's not drinking. He's just going off contemplating. Nobody got mad that Yoda did it. Yoda did the same thing. You know, Yoda went off with some.
Yeah, I mean,
they kind of acted the same way too.
Yeah,
I honestly loved, like personally, I love Last Jedi because for a lot of reasons. First and foremost, I agree 100% with what you're saying right now with Ryan's choice for Luke personally, because I felt like, yeah, he was the symbol of optimism. You know, he really didn't mourn death. He had that 5 minutes after Obi-Wan was killed on the Death Star before he had to jump into the gunner seat on the
I mean,
Falcon.
there it is. There's his, you know, his long lost, you know, basically his godfather. And it's like, wow, wait, what do you have more about my dad? What is it? What's more about my dad? All this stuff. Wait, what's going on? Wait, what's his whole life that, you know, I have like a whole, what's this? Wait, now you're dead?
Yeah. And so
but
I
you got to get away.
Understood
bad guys are after you.
And then, you know, the whole story about his nephew, you know, turning to the dark side is like, I completely understood that. And to me also, when I looked at it is that, okay, if you look at 20 some odd years ago, we talked about this a lot, is that there are a lot of fans out there who are not happy with the prequels. That were like, you know, what is this we're watching right here? This has nothing to do with...
You wanted to set him up as just this young kid who was tempted by the dark side, and you know, it's like drugs. Hey, freshman.
Exactly.
You afraid, freshman? Come on, just a little bit.
Right. So after 20 years, it was kind of like, well, you know, the next generation that grew up on the prequels, you know, they were obviously like in Chicago, they were, you know, very happy to see Ahmed Best showing up there after all the play he went through. And, you know, people were, you know, excited about the prequels, but then, you know, it was kind of like, well, when JJ came up with that stuff, people are still angry about that. So to me, I looked at Force Awakens almost like it was, I call it a diet, A New Hope, because they had a similar thematic scenarios of the first movie that kind of brought the fandom back into Star Wars again. And if they went that logical progression, then the second movie would have had Rey's family lineage reveal. You know, it would have been a diet Empire Strikes Back. And I looked at Rian Johnson and said, you basically did what the fans didn't want. And kudos to you, because guess what? You were able to actually give us a thematic story that was completely original, which was great.
Right. And you everybody was going, who is Rey? Who is Rey? No one was realizing that it was the Emperor, you know. That came out of, whoa. And of course,
it was Palpatine all along.
The whole time. Yeah, exactly. Well, whereas Wyatt he really liked the do you like the prequels, right?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up with them.
Yeah.
So I like Jar Jar, despite popular opinion.
And he's also. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, that was George
that
Lucas's favorite character too.
He was the one that showed me that character of where Jar Jar was going to be the Sith Lord.
I still think he was supposed to be.
Well, if you look at it, if you want to go back to it, the whole giving Palpatine the extra power was Jar Jar.
That was Jar Jar. Where does, look at him. What were the things that you said? I do not. What does Obi-Wan say? I do not believe in luck.
Oh, something like that.
Yeah, I do not believe in luck. And what's going on there? Ding dang. He's everything that's being shot at him. He's just, all that whole time during that battle. That sure looks like luck to me.
No, that was all skill.
That was all skill.
Flawlessly.
He did it flawlessly.
So
even,
what was the one
where he shows up out of nowhere in the battle and he just like jumps down from 6 stories down or something?
Yeah. Off of I forget what scene that is, but they're trying to like basically save the congresswoman.
Right.
Yeah. So going back with Jedi right now, it's very interesting, seeing this conversation between the Force ghosts of Obi-Wan and Luke, talk about the whole certain point of view. It's amazing to think, that Luke had every right to be pissed off about everything that he's gone through in the last couple of years.
Oh yeah.
And find out about his father, find out about, wait a minute, Obi-Wan knew this entire story and he didn't tell me that. He could have said,
you tell me after you're dead? Thanks a lot.
Yeah, right. It's like it could have been like over there. It's I love those books that came out at a certain point of view, telling different elements of the storyline, but just to see what potentially could have happened, because at any time at his particular juncture, there's pivotal points where if he just went a different way, certain things would not have happened.
It's just like raising kids, that happens.
Yeah.
A certain thing of if your kid decides to become friends with the town, who turns out to be the town drunk or the Lodi in high school, or the pusher or whatever, or the best guy in school. It all depends on, just happens that those seeds are just picked up sometimes randomly, and it could have very easily gone the wrong way, and very easily Luke could have went the wrong way, but he didn't.
So yeah, Catherine, you're talking about, you love how my Martha talks about many Bothans died to bring this information. I like to point out my T-shirt of hello, my name is Manny Bothans. I had this made for Chicago. It got a lot of laughs walking around the floor.
That's fun.
You were in your element.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of people who are missing that element right now. Hopefully the Comic-Cons start coming in. We start getting the vaccinations. And maybe we can get cons back faster than, maybe I'll be seeing you guys in person sooner than you think.
That would be good.
That'd be absolutely fantastic. I mean, there obviously, there's a lot of cons that are, at least I know on the East Coast, are starting to, book up, for the late summer, fall, right now with guests. So it's nice to see that they're at least attempting to go this route. I know, so group of us, it's like 50, 60 of us from this group are actually going down to Florida in a couple of weeks to go to Galaxy's Edge together, because we don't want to wait till 2022 to be together for Celebration. We had a full year with no con. We had to cancel Celebration last year. So we're like, something, if one of the parks are open, we're just going. We don't care where it is, whether it's California or Florida. Turned out Florida happened to be the one that was open. So like 60 of us are going down to geek out on Star Wars together because we didn't have Celebration last year. So it's, the fandom is ready for a con, but we're all ready to be together as a Star Wars family again, which is which would be great. They joke about that there's no fandom that hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans. But the thing is that I don't see another fandom. I mean, yes, there's Star Trek fans, there's Lord of the Rings fans, there's Harry Potter fans, but
there's
I'm a fan of.
There's no Game of Thrones fans.
Yeah. There's no straightforward Game of Thrones con.
But the thing is, show on TV for 7 years, and
it was the Starbucks cup. I'm telling you right now, screwed it all up for everybody. And that ending, they're like, that's the worst ending ever to one of the best shows ever.
Yeah.
Screw you guys. You're dead to me. But the fact is that Star Wars fans will argue till they're blue in the face about every single detail. But at the end of the day, they could say, something, I hate this element, but damn it, it's Star Wars. I love it, and I love the content. Yeah. And there's no fandom that is like that.
Yeah. Well, that's why I think with Disney buying it, some people don't like that whole thing. I mean, they're marketing the heck out of it, but George marketed the heck out of it.
Think about this. Yeah, well, think about this. We had Star Wars,
he was the first one to get that.
For 20 plus years, before 20, 30 years before George even sold it, Star Wars was always a cult classic. People were like, it was fringe, it was avant-garde. People, you liked it or you didn't like it, but you knew about it. And when Disney bought it, it was kind of like, how could Star Wars ever get bigger? Mm-hmm. Like, how it was unfathomable. And all of a sudden, because Disney, the mouse dollars behind it, boom, Star Wars is everywhere. And as a Star Wars fan, you're like, yeah, that's great, but we've been fans for how long now? Now you're getting with the program, and now it's even bigger than it's ever been. I mean, whether people like the sequel trilogy or not, I mean, the reveal of Grogu or Baby Yoda or the child, or whatever you want to call that, the fandom got even bigger after that because people are like, oh my God, that's the most adorable thing that I've ever seen. And a lot of us were like, yeah, that's really cute. But we had back in the 80s, it was called an Ewok. But it's nice to see the fandoms, growing again, and you have to give it to Disney. Disney, they put the money in the machine, and it's just, people are thirsty content,
well,
again, which is great.
You look at Disney animation and its storylines, and you look at a lot of the other animations of different studios. And they just don't hold up to movie after movie after movie. Even though Katzenberg went over to DreamWorks, there's something about the Disney movie Disney animation is just better story-wise than most. Take the past your 10 best animated movies. Disney's probably got at least 7 or 8 of them. Out of all these other studios doing animated movies.
Well, because if you figure that, since day one, going to Steamboat Willie, I mean, Walt wanted you to feel like you were part of the story, whether it be animation or with the parks or anything of that nature. He wanted you to be all inclusive. So the hand in hand, with when they first did Star Tours, and they first said, if you watch what's a show on Imagineers, how Star Wars and Disney was, basically a marriage made, in heaven, because it just, it fit into the whole ideology of, the company. It shows that, Disney, they're going to protect their IP at any cost, and they're not stupid when they're seeing a property like a Star Wars or like, getting into the superhero realm, that there's money to be made there's merchandising, because when it really comes down to it, it all comes down to, what they could sell with it.
Show business.
Yeah.
Show business.
But I'm looking forward to seeing, what's going to happen. We talked about earlier that, this next year is all Marvel, but I think 2022 is going to be very much Star Wars, between live action and cartoon and movie, and everything. But hey,
Ewok
we're on
movies.
yes,
Ewok
we need more
movies.
Ewok movies. And speaking of Ewok movies, hey, look, we're on Endor.
We're on Endor.
Yeah, right back.
We shot on a area that was it was going to be logged right after this, right after we were done, so we could blow up trees, we could blow up everything, because they were going to log it anyway. And so you just had to thin the forest, not these big trees, big ones they were keeping, but it was the little ones that you cut those to thin them out to make the forest just more healthy.
Right, exactly. Sort of like weeding it. Ooh, snap.
Dicky Bear. No, not that one. Boom. Yeah, that's Dicky Bear. Boom. That's. And now we go to ILM.
This scene was so insane the first time I saw it.
And Garrett Brown, who invented the Steadicam,
right?
Which is it was brand new at this time. You first saw the Steadicam during The Shining, that whole big wheel scene running down the hallways. That was the big time with that, putting a gyroscope at the bottom of the camera. And so he walked around Muir Woods with this, and doing one frame at a time with pixelation to get all this type of the special effect of this for that. Then when they laid it over with the green screen or the blue screen, probably blue screen, since it's so much
screen
green
back then.
So much,
and there's green in their wardrobe too.
Yeah, so it's probably the blue screen.
But that
Could you imagine if you guys had the volume back then?
Yeah.
That'd be a different game.
Well, Wyatt works for Tesla, and so he was saying that Elon's trying to figure out how to work one of these guys. He wants it's a hover.
Yeah, he wants the roadster to hover.
He wants the roadster to hover.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Was this Back to the Future 2?
Back to the Future 4?
Yeah, right.
No, it's called Now.
Yeah.
It's called A Guy with a Lot of Money Who's likes to make stuff.
Yeah, innovative.
Yeah.
What a concept. A guy with a lot of money trying to make stuff.
Yeah. Well, he says, well, people say, well, when are you going to put a car in space? And he goes, I did that.
I heard that the car has been like totally bleached. And I think even the paint's kind of stripped off because of it being exposed to whatever it's exposed to out in space.
Oh, yeah.
Other things.
Imagine.
Boom. The scene being so familiar yet so a galaxy far, far away was really cool. Wow, wow.
So Jeff, how many times do you think we're going to get pictures of all of us on the speeder bike outside of Star Tours?
Running from the AT-AT. I don't know.
Yep.
There's also the speeder bike or speeder thing that's outside of Savi's workshop too.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different, but yeah.
I know every time I try to go on that, I try to kick my legs up like I'm on the Ewok that's driving the speeder bike, you know, like I'm flying.
Poplu. Many people don't realize that Kenny was Wicket.
Right. And
He
then
was supposed to be Wicket. That whole scene was supposed to be Kenny Baker, not Warwick.
Was he got ill or something?
He got ill. He was not feeling well that day. And they were getting ready to, but Warwick being a 12-year-old kid in this scene, it just would have been different.
Yeah, that totally.
Just would have been different.
Wouldn't have had the same feel for sure.
Right.
And you know, they're gonna have slightly different acting styles or whatever.
Well, you know, what if Kurt Russell was Han Solo?
That would be interesting. Yeah, Snake Plissken.
Yeah, some of those screen tests with the actors that were up for those roles. It's like, no. But there was also the fact that Warwick was more playful because he was a kid and like did the thing with his tongue through the mask. Probably wouldn't have got that with Kenny unless they asked him to do it specifically.
Yes.
You know,
you never know. You never know.
I mean, honestly, yeah, you really did. With Kenny being in the R2 suit, you really couldn't see a lot of his, I guess you want to call it, acting chops per se. So it would have been obviously a different, you know, characterization. But when you see Warwick in a movie like Harry Potter, where he's played multiple characters in the same movie, you know it's Warwick. Like you know his acting style, even though he's playing a different character. So obviously Kenny would have had a different thing, but the childlike innocence that Warwick
that's
brought
what
to
did
it.
it. That was the whole
thing. He wasn't acting. He was being himself.
Mm-hmm. And Carrie and him had met before, you know, in London during the village scene, so they had a connection too already.
It's that wonderful picture of on the sail barge of Carrie with Warwick when Warwick eating a cookie that from behind the scenes. That was he always says that was in interviews I saw that was one of his favorite moments of, you know, just being there. That Carrie was like almost like a set mom for him.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
You ever notice that the rebels are the good guys, but they don't say freeze. They just shoot. They never say hands up. They never say anything like that. They don't give you the chance. They freeze.
They have protocols to follow.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing actually I loved in the in season 2 of Mandalorian, when they did the whole thing with going to the bunker with Bill Burr's character Mayfield, is how all like you felt for the remnants of the Empire, that they were all cheering like they were the rebels. They were all very much for the cause, you know.
Right. You got that other kind of vibe that you never really saw from them.
I love the bit where they were trying to shoot the can that couldn't hit.
Right.
On the ground, yeah.
Well, on the ground.
It was always tugging. Yeah, they were always doing, you know, tugging.
Then they blame the weapons.
Yeah.
They totally, you know, Favreau totally played to the fandom and tried to, show like all the fan theories and, you know, all the little gotcha moments that you know people talk about.
So I mean, it's a fan. Favreau is a fan of the movies. He's also a very good filmmaker, and he's a kid in a candy store.
Exactly.
And he knows those little nuances.
And they have the time to fill. So it's like, why not throw a little,
Right.
homage to this or that in there?
Well, it's kind of like
Usually otherwise.
Wyatt's favorite show growing up was Last Airbender, Avatar. And then they do the movie, and the director comes in and says, oh, well, he doesn't really, know about it. He's scared of his skills. And it was like, they just changed the whole character completely. It's like, why did you bring this director in and ruin the whole movie of that whole fan base? You have this huge fan base, and they all come in and go, what? Wait, what? And it wasn't, they didn't pick a fan of that movie to write or direct that genre of that type of cartoon. It just ruined the whole thing.
What
now
I love
there's
about
talks of remaking that.
Well, here the thing is, if they're going to remake that, the perfect person to remake that is Filoni, because that's where Filoni came from. He came from Avatar to Star Wars. So, makes sense right there.
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully that happens.
Yeah.
Chewie loves meat on a stick.
Mm-hmm.
Who doesn't love meat on a stick?
That's true. It's like fair food.
Yeah.
All you had to do is fry it.
Absolutely.
Like that.
Oh.
Like a pork.
Yeah.
He wasted a perfectly good porg in that movie. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
These guys, the stunt guys in here were so, when they fell down, they couldn't have a pad. And so they fell on the ground. And you had to watch out. That's not really the stunt. R2 is, there's, Kenny's not in there, but there's nobody in there, but it was still pretty heavy.
Wow.
And so I think it whacked somebody.
Oh, here comes the party.
The net trap was actually one of my favorite parts of the Ewok Village playset from Kenner. I thought that was awesome.
There's Jack Purvis, the late Jack Purvis. I'm way in the back. I wanted to be doing so. There's Kenny Baker.
We got to kill them now. They disrespected us.
Yeah. I would have liked to that we were a little bit tougher with this whole scene. I look back at it and I go, I'm kind of. I wish it was more of. They were a little bit more menacing. But
yeah.
I'm not the director.
Well, if you think about the time, the time frame also as well is that the first thing people are going to think of, they're going to see these teddy bears, and if it's a kids movie, they're not going to make them nightmarish.
That's me, way in the back with the white stripe. I didn't want to be in this scene. I wanted to do. We were doing stunt training right now, and I didn't want to be in this scene. There's a bunch of extras. Like, I don't want to do this. I was trained for stunts.
Yeah.
Because this was all day.
Wow.
That was the only stunt guy that was in this scene. So I was like, argh.
You're not fluent if you're not sure what word you're saying. I just got to say that. C3PO.
I thought that was always very ironic, especially in Rise of Skywalker, that he's fluent in how many languages, and the one he can't speak is Sith.
Yeah. It's against his programming.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go between cute and menacing. It's a fine line.
And through the whole thing, after the prequels, does anybody realize that who does not have a scene together? C-3PO and Darth Vader. They do not have a scene together ever after the prequels.
That's interesting.
No, that's not me. This is Now We're in London. Completely different set of Ewoks.
Oh yeah.
These guys can barely carry this, guys. Those English guys, they were like the butch Americans. No, Mike Edmonds. This set was like 30 feet above the ground. At the set, everything was up high, so you actually had it wasn't a forced perspective. It was these huts were up in the air on stage.
Oh wow.
At their lunch.
I love how they're preparing a meal in his honor, but he can't eat it. Not that he would, but
right. Well, no.
It's like, let's have a kegger, but you don't drink. So, but I'm gonna bring like all this beer.
It's a Mormon kegger.
Yeah.
We're all gonna have 7-Up.
There you go.
Yeah.
Boom.
It's like, cool. The guest of honor is vegan. Let's have a steak.
Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm. Let's grill it up in front of him.
Yeah.
Freaking everybody out. So that wasn't Warwick or was Warwick again Wicket right there?
Yeah, Warwick's well, no, Warwick is playing Warwick. They liked him so much they just basically gave him a character.
Well, yeah.
They just liked, it was one of those things of he came on as an extra and they said, we just really the first AD, David Tomlin, who was the first AD for a lot of Lucasfilms,
right.
That really said, let's keep this guy around. And he probably has a lot to, its Warwick was great, but it was David Tomlin who really, really enjoyed Warwick's company.
Did go back and forth between LA and London, or did you just shoot in London?
This is all just London. And then it was, you did probably a lot of all that Empire, the Emperor and Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker scenes, because this was done in January, and then we didn't do all the Endor stuff until May, late May, around April, May, late April, May. That's it.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Was any of the Wicket scenes shot in the stateside, or was that all shot over?
That was that was shot. That whole scene that you did with Leia and Wicket was shot in Smith River.
Okay.
Up in just outside of the big town was Crescent City, which is really not a big town.
In Northern
The
California.
bigger town is Eureka, which is an hour and a half away.
Wow.
Yeah. Crescent City has maybe 20,000 people, and that was the big town. They had an airport.
Too populated up there.
Yeah. No, not really.
Very lush, though.
My nephew works up in Eureka, at the Forestry Service.
Oh, wow.
That's Kenny jumping up and down. That's Kenny. Which was very funny. Kenny next to R2D2.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's funny because, when you see an actor, that's inside a suit, for example, and then you see someone who replaces him, even though it's the same actor, same character, there's something about Peter Mayhew's eyes. Let's just say that you can tell that it's Peter in the outfit, and then you could tell when it's Jonas in the outfit because of his eyes. Like the expressions of the eyes, you could tell that it's a different actor. But yeah, it's the same character.
Yeah. Jack Purvis did a lot of the other characters. He was in Star Wars Empire. Both he and Mike Edmonds were in all three. And Jack and Kenny had a nightclub act where they told jokes, and Kenny played harmonica and Jack played horn, trumpet. And so they would play all sorts of almost like those, that kind of 60s jazz type stuff. And, that was basically their main thing. They would play different cabarets around London. And I forget the name of it. You can probably look it up, but the Mini Tones. They were the Mini Tones.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
What a great title.
This was a long scene. They shot this. I was there when they shot this scene, and it was like, because I never saw a script or anything like that. But I'm watching this, and it's like, listening, it's like.
Also, this is the first time you found out about lineage?
Oh yeah, this was the first time. I was like, the other guys who were there were not that big of Star Wars fans, but it was like,
right. And you're like, and that's why I signed that NDA.
Get the skinny.
So was the statute of limitations up until the premiere?
Yeah, it's premiere. Now what are you gonna say?
Right.
What I'm gonna tell the whole movie. I'm gonna tell all the secrets. It's like, yeah, we know.
Was it date specific, or was it just say the first premiere?
Basically it was till the premiere.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
The release of the movie, but
because then it's in the papers after that.
Oh, that's true.
It's in the papers, and when you read a review, they're going to tell you the whole, depending on they're going to tell you the whole movie.
Yeah. Most news have gotten better about that nowadays because everybody gets so up in arms about spoilers.
Well, when you watch a trailer, you sit there and go, well, now I know the whole movie.
Yeah.
So why do I need to spend, $15 to go spend a movie?
Many trailers that were the best parts of a movie. And it was
right.
It's a great highlight reel. I don't need to see the movie.
Right.
And once you do, you're like, why?
Or like, a lot of media outlets won't, do a review until maybe like a week after the movie premieres. But yet,
Right.
After the first preview, like the night before, you can go at 3:00 in the morning Eastern time to Wikipedia, and then you got the whole freaking storyline there. So I was like,
right. It's everybody wants to be the first one to say, guess what? I know the story and I'm going to tell everybody.
Right.
And a lot of people, but there's like, I saw it first, so I can tell all the secrets.
Yep.
well, it's like for Mandalorian, I would, after we do shows, I would take a quick, nap and then get up for Mandalorian because, obviously it was Star Wars. I needed to, and I was like, something, I'm just going to wait for WandaVision till later in the afternoon on a Friday to watch it. But then I was like, something, the moment I wake up, the first thing I'm going to do is probably go on social media and some jackoff's going to ruin it for me. So I'm just going to continue to wake up at 3:00 in the morning because I can't deal with that. It's like, I want to see it, have the reaction for myself.
Is it funny that that's the only AT-AT that we see on Endor?
What about
I saw? There's no other AT-AT. They're all ATSTs.
Right, exactly.
Which was very much indigenous to Hoth in Empire. So that's very interesting.
There's not a lot of room to move through those giant
This is true.
trees.
This is true.
Big ass AT-AT.
Yeah.
That's true, Jason. There wasn't a lot of people like Tom Holland to screw things up. But that's what I love about the new the trailer for the new title for the next Spider-Man is they made a play on that whole thing of Tom Holland basically can't keep his mouth shut. So it's actually pretty funny.
Oh, that's funny.
Because he was actually on a Conan or one of those shows, and when they were doing Far From Home, and he revealed the title of the movie, but he wasn't supposed to. So he obviously got a little bit of heat for that. So they just revealed the title for the next Spider-Man movie, and it was him coming out of the director's office, and he said, they're like, so what's the title? Well, they've been telling us the wrong title because you screwed it up last time. He's like, I didn't do that. They're like, oh yeah, you did. And then they walk by a dry erase board, and the title of the movie is on the dry erase board. So they made a whole joke out of it. But the fact is that he's notorious for being such a fanboy that he, in the middle of a press, he'll reveal the secrets of the movie.
That's funny.
Have you seen a good version, like in a still of that board? How much stuff is on it? That whiteboard.
Yeah, it was like different titles.
And like how they like why it's bad or not ideal.
Yeah.
Funny.
So John Notman said that they saw a great picture of you, Kevin, this week in costume with Richard Marquardt getting directions. How is he to work with?
I mean, think of all the things that he had to deal with. He had just, with the last part of the movie, we're an hour and a half away from. It was fine. He wasn't a yeller. He was straightforward.
Right.
He knew what he wanted. He was a nice guy. Yeah, I've worked with since then, yellers and screamers and people who think they know what they're doing and don't know what they're doing. Every scene was storyboarded out, and that's how we shot it. And most of the stuff was that I worked with a little bit the first 2 weeks with Richard Marquardt, but the rest of the way I worked with the other 3 weeks I worked with David Tomlin, the first AD, doing, and it was the J.R. Randall, the stunt coordinator, and it was more of doing all the crazy battle scenes.
How was it working? let me rephrase that. How is the dynamic between George and Richard? I mean, it's obviously George's baby.
I didn't see any, I didn't see anything, that bad. I didn't see any ill will that a lot of people talk about. I didn't see any of that.
Right.
And so when people said things like that, it was like, I don't remember that.
Right.
And so he was the director on set. I mean, they would ask George, you think this is the way that this is how this is going to be played? And, him being the creator, of course, he's got a horse in the race on there.
Right.
Definitely. Punch it, Lando.
Mm-hmm. And Mike Quinn is he's a young kid here.
Yeah.
He got this part. He's not that, he's in his mid-40s and mid-20s. That one was Kenny. You can always tell Kenny because he's always jumping up and down the way he does it. Now Warwick comes in.
Mike Quinn, what a nice guy.
Yes, he is a heck of a nice guy. Now what you can do is if you really watch it, Kenny Baker has very, very short arms, and Tony Cox has very long arms, just like Warwick Davis. They're the same type of dwarf, because we're talking different types of dwarfism in people who play the Ewoks. Me being, see how short he is, the way he's spread those?
Yeah.
As he rides, then you'll notice his arms grow.
So it's not a forced perspective.
No.
Different actor.
Different actor. Tony Cox has longer arms. See how much longer the arms are? They're shooting that straight up, and he's going straight up in the air doing that one.
Oh, wow.
And Tony Cox, back in his day, we were both on the Hollywood Shorties, which is the smallest. That's me. See the difference in the size? Because I'm a good 6 inches taller than Kenny Baker. That now is a housing area where we shot that whole bunker scene. They made it into like a housing complex.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like Elstree Studios is now a shopping mall.
Yeah, they
like
clipped
a strip
that
mall.
studio in like half or
That
something.
whole, yeah. Who is that? Here's another one my son brought up. I'd love these little things of having these father sons. We've had this. Who is a better magician? You have Harry Potter, you have Luke Skywalker, you have the Emperor, or do you have Santa Claus? You know? Who's the better magician or wizard? Because when you really think about it, Santa Claus is a pretty good wizard. Gets around the whole world,
He
all
moves
those
pretty
kids up and down, you know, in one day. That's a tough one to beat.
We have a really great question from John Drake. How was Kenny to work with? I mean, there's obviously notorious stories about the fact that he had some friction with Anthony, but how was he with you and other people?
Oh, it's great. Kenny was just a joy. Kenny was just, you know, when you look at him, you know, anybody who's been to a Comic-Con and has seen his line 50 people long, and he's got an oxygen tank next to him before he passed on. He has an oxygen tank and he's breathing, the oxygen thing is on there, and he's signing because he knows it's for the fans. And I don't know why Anthony and Kenny got into it, of why they didn't have a better relationship. It's too bad. I wasn't there, so I don't, and he never expressed the reasonings. But for Kenny, for myself, he didn't even say a bad word about Warwick getting the part. His whole thing of the Ewoks, because Kenny wasn't asked to be in the Ewok movies.
Mm.
You know, here's George Lucas's guy. We're doing Ewok movies, and he hasn't asked to be in them.
Hmm.
It's Warwick, and I never heard a ill word from Kenny.
Yeah, I would have thought he might have been upset, especially that a child.
Oh yeah, he has every right to be. Every right to be upset, just like you know, David Prowse being upset. But Kenny never was, you know. That guy had one line, "Rebel scum." It's one of those iconic things. I met him at a Comic-Con. He had one line. That was it. "You rebel scum." That's it.
Scum.
Done. Day player. One day, says it. Iconic.
We were talking about this when we watched Empire last. Obviously, in this movie, Akbar is credited with saying it's a trap. But the thing is that Leia says it in Empire, but no one thinks about it at that point.
Right.
But Akbar says it in this, and it's the biggest thing.
Right.
It's also how he says it.
That could be, you know, that could be it.
That was Tim Rose, right? Or did someone else do the voice?
Tim Rose did the voice. I forget who the actor inside is. Your fandom people already probably know.
We can ask Catherine Cook. She probably knows.
Yeah.
But I know Tim Rose was really pissed off with the way they sent off Akbar in the sequels, though.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you just got to clean up a minor character. You got to just clean up that minor character.
Yeah.
You don't know where that storyline's going. We got to just clean them out. Take them out.
He needs to.
That was the one thing. That was the one thing about the special edition of Empire that I actually approved with, was the fact that they brought in Ian to reshoot the hologram of the Emperor to make it conducive to the whole thing.
Right.
I understood that one. As much as I don't agree with the fact that they put in Hayden Christensen at the end of the special edition of Jedi. Yeah. I understood it, but to me, it was Sebastian. Like, you see older Anakin, but I understand why George did what he did, but I'm kind of like,
well, pictures of your dad you know, and do you remember your dad as the age of your dad, or do you want to see, do you remember him as a young teenager?
Right.
Or a young crazy 20-year-old?
I would think you would have
mean,
more of a memory of him being a little bit older as opposed to
right. That's why when it is Hayden Christensen, it's like I mean, my dad did some crazy things when he was in his 20s and 30s, but I didn't know him. I didn't really get to know my dad till he was in his 40s and 50s.
Right. And considering he'd only seen him unmasked one time or whatever, that could be the one that he could project himself as, but whatever.
Right. Exactly.
There's always the thought that the reason why also, if you want to justify Hayden in there, is that his last true form as a Jedi, because the Jedis were the one who were able to come back as a Force ghost. There you go.
There I am. That's true.
And there you are again.
Yeah. There I am.
And there's more of you.
That's Tony Cox. That's me. That's me again. It's me again. It's me again. It's me again. On the one on the right.
This could be a drinking game. Where's Kevin?
That's me again. Yeah. I'm running.
Be lit by the time we get to this point.
It's a drinking game. And this Kevin, come on.
So
just shot the arrow.
It was Eric Bowers
There
Field.
I am. I'm running. That's me in the front.
Eric Bowers Field was Akbar.
Oh.
There I am. Watch this. 1, 2. First guy. Boom. Boom. Yeah. Fresh meat. And guy in the end. That was Tony Cox, even though, that was me that died there. That's me getting thrown.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
That's Felix Sella there.
How's he? I heard it wasn't doing
this.
so
I
well.
hated this scene. This was my worst scene. I hated this. I'm on the other end. Oh God, we did this 5 times. It was horrible. Let's see. Second guy over. Boop. There I am in the middle. That's me running. I didn't do this thing. I couldn't do that one. Watch this. Boink.
Didn't you tell Work to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Do it yourself. Do that. I think that's funny. We were trying it. And they took the guys off to go do that. And Warwick's still doing that. I said, and he's doing that. And he hits himself in the head. It's like, Warwick, go show the director that one. Go show him how you do that. And I'm pulling the thing. This is Chub Ray, the birth of Chub Ray. There I am.
Oh, so these parts where they were actually
get out of the way, run.
So when the trees actually get split, those are real trees in the forest.
Those are real trees, yes.
That's pretty cool. Practical effects are the best.
All right. Lando's gonna say, just give us a little bit more time, and we cut back to Endor, and then you're gonna see this explosion, this Ewok go flying, and that's me. Now, how do you get people to the medical frigate? I'm sorry. You're in space.
Well, you know, like what Ridley Scott said, in space, they can't hear you scream.
Oh, Ridley's a good guy. I was one of the few people on Blade Runner that liked him. He wrote all my parts. Oh, yeah.
There you go.
He wrote Home Again, Jiggity Jake. Good evening, JF. My very first line.
Oh, wow.
It's awesome.
like we learned from the first Death Star to do it better this time.
It's like breakfast cereals. It's new and improved.
Yeah, there you go.
They plugged up the hole. There's no reactor hole anymore.
Yep. So like the one defect has been reworked.
What do you say, Mike? Mike, what happened?
More time. Boom, right there.
Right now.
There you go.
There it is. Watch this.
Look like you took a nice dinner on the back of your head.
Yeah, that was a good one. Wow. One take.
Well, that's good.
No, that's it. This was one of our very first scenes. We smacked the snot out of those guys with those. I'm doing it.
Oh.
He's so mean to R2, you know?
Yeah. He gets jacked up. Well, 3PO gets pretty jacked up too, so.
Yeah, it would be too.
Every droid in a Star Wars movie seems to get pretty jacked up. Especially if it's got a lead role.
Yeah.
So we have a question about your experience on Jackass the movie.
Oh, that was great.
So this is.
Can you tell us about
That's
it?
me.
Can you tell us about that scene?
No, watch. Well, wait a minute. Here's the most iconic scene. And
Right
think
here.
of this. This is Debbie Carrington. She's an extra. The other guy just lays there. That's Phil Fondacaro. He just lays there.
Aww.
Come on.
Wow.
But any good stories about
I'm second guy.
Jackass?
Jackass 3. Jackass. We did that all. They had 2 bars and they put all these little cameras all in, and only the owners knew. The bartenders didn't know. The people didn't know. And so when Wee Man and the girl go in to have the drink, and then the other guy comes in, Puppet walks in, and he's the ex-boyfriend. They were like look around going, what the hell's going on? What's and then Puppet goes back out and gets the other 2 guys, and then there's a bar fight. There was people going, we had plants that were there that were like saying, just in case. And the guy goes, hey, that's no fair, 3-on-1, come on, let's go in. They were ready to help out Wee Man. And they're like, no, we're doing a thing. And they're like, what? They're like, wait, oh, whoa. Because Wee Man walked in because they shot it, because Wee Man Jason Acuna went to school in Redondo Beach, and we shot it right around his house. And so there's a guy going,
oh, wow.
Hey, Jason, dude, what's up? Remember me? We were in history together. Well, we had some great times. What's going on? He's like, no, dude, I'm doing something here. It's like, huh? Wait, what? What's going on? It's like, no, it's like, buy you a beer. And I was like, dude, no, we're like doing something. I'm with my girl here. Oh man, you don't want to talk, man? We were so close in high school, man. It's like, no, we're doing a gig. So, we went, and then we ran out. We did the gag, and then we went. Let's go and do another one. And we ran over to the other bar, and we did it again. And then we ran over to another bar, and we did it again. So it was all on the fly, and it was all improv. None of them were done the right way.
That's awesome.
And then, yeah. Oh, we just missed that I flew in with those guys. And did you notice the 2 guys that were with Chewie? That's Tony Cox again. That were with Chewie walking in are 2 completely different Ewoks inside the AT-ST.
Continuity error.
No one caught it. No one caught it. Hey, I'm one of those guys. I always say I'm 5. I'm probably more like, I just died.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the first guy that chops the axe. Coming up. That's Felix. He should use that picture. I don't know why he doesn't use that picture.
Oh.
That's me. That was Mike Gilden. Boink. That's me. That was a scary scene up there. That's me right in the middle. That's me. That's Chris. That's me. That's me. I was the guy in the front.
I don't got it.
Didn't really recoil from that, did she? See, look at this.
Just grazed
They
her.
said, freeze, don't move. We shot it one way, and I was coming out of there first, and then we shot it another way, and Chewie comes out of there.
Mm.
Way it goes. It was better that Chewie does it.
Right.
So how about, did we count how many Ewoks there was? I always say 5, but it was a lot more, wasn't
Like 7,000.
it?
It'd be easier to go through and say who you weren't.
Yeah, it almost is. It is weird that it was 3 scenes back to back, and I'm each one of those guys.
Right.
In 3 different places.
Uh-huh. You're like Santa Claus. You can get everywhere.
Yes, exactly. I'm all over Endor. And it's not even Chukatrak.
I love how the saber battles evolved through the 3 original movies so much.
Oh yeah. Well, it brought back sword fighting.
Yeah, but also
But it's almost that Japanese, the Japanese type of sword fighting, though.
Right. The 2-handed thing versus the fencing style.
Katana.
Kendo.
Oh, right.
Kendo.
I think it's Kendo.
Kendo. Okay.
Or Kempo.
Kempo.
I forget. It's one of those.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's more powerful and forceful.
Right.
And not so much like swashbuckler style or whatever.
No. Definitely was never
Not beyond Errol Flynn.
Yeah. No Errol Flynn type of stuff. Hey, wait a minute. That's Han Solo.
Classic shot.
That's me up on top. That was Mike Edmonds with the right there over his shoulder.
There's a lot of Ewoks in that shot too.
There was only 35 of us.
No, it's a hefty amount. What was the total at any one point? Like
45. 45. Couple couldn't do the whole thing. We sent about 4 home. Or not 4 home. They chose to go home.
Right.
You had 5 English, 6 stunt guys, and 35 Ewoks. So 45.
Yes. Doing a lot of weird random swinging in this scene. Sort of like a Kylo taking it out on his office.
Yeah. He's, defending his sister's honor.
Right. But he's he's definitely, well, now he's getting crazy. Why does the Emperor always look like he just soaked in palm olive?
Oh, Madge.
Exactly.
Dishwashing liquid? You're soaking in it.
You got a better model than him.
See, they said, come on, freshman, take a hit of that. Take a hit of that cigarette. Come on, you can have a beer. And he says, no, I'm not. I'm not going to have that beer. I'm not 21.
Like my father before me.
Right. This was a big old boom. Well, we didn't see that part, but when they blew that bunker up, it was a big boom.
That was just like a door set with no real interior.
No, you could. We were on top of it. We could.
Oh,
we
yeah.
could get that little part where you see when they come in, not where they're setting the charges and all that. That was done in England.
Right.
But when they walk in, you can see the trees behind them. That was in up in Eureka or Smith River. But it's very not a lot because we're going to blow it up.
Minimal, yeah.
Yeah, very minimal.
Just enough.
Yeah. This was new. It's like Obi-Wan Kenobi couldn't do this.
Yeah. Love the reflection off of Vader's helmet.
Oh, yeah. It's like a welder. He's got the welder mask on.
Right. You will die. Spoiler alert. No.
You will die.
I hate this no that they added to the scene.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
there's one of the things that's like, you didn't need it.
Right.
You get enough just from
Right.
his body language.
Right.
Because you already picked up on he was not feeling the Emperor like fully anymore.
It's like, well, you're going to kill me off anyway.
Right.
Well, what
like,
happens if I kill you?
I'm dispensable to you.
Yeah.
Let me come to this realization without having to be like, don't.
Zing.
They got to show whiny Anakin.
So did he throw him down the exhaust pipe or what did he do?
Yeah, they're down the
Okay,
reactor
he should be
shaft.
Yeah.
He should be dead, but spoiler alert, he's not.
I always wondered about that one, you know? It was like,
Doesn't the custodian or somebody find him in like the Robot Chicken sketch? Have to sweep him up and along with all the other falling bodies.
Seth Green would be a fun guy to direct something of that.
Yeah.
You know, he's a big fan.
Yeah, he's definitely he would be able to do the deep dive kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
I'd like to see
from what
his
they did
version
with-
of like an episode of Mandalorian.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to get him to come in on one of those new shows somehow.
Yeah. You ever wonder why the Empire doesn't use the X-wing look?
As opposed to the TIE fighter?
Right.
I don't know.
Well, it's like Valencio's character in Last Jedi. I mean, the people who were making one were making for the other. It was just all about, you know, who was selling.
Yeah, marketing to whom?
Yeah. Well, it is fun that there's all these different ships, and you never really saw this in any other show until Star Wars. But George is such a car geek, so he's a
Right.
spaceship geek. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at going back to to American Graffiti, and
Yeah.
he shows his love for the 1950s and that whole time
Yeah,
period in
everybody-
the environment. I mean,
That's
Or
their iconic
Tucker.
ride, in that
Yeah.
movie.
and I keep it going back to like the scene of Dex's diner in Coruscant in Attack of the Clones, which is the cable car diner from the 1950s. It was a textbook
exactly.
reference right there.
Or Solo is basically a Western.
Yep.
It had a lot of different elements peppered in, though. It had the the heist movie, which was a train Western kind of heist. And the buddy flick and
the car, the drag racing with the pod racers.
Oh yeah.
You had his speeder race in Solo, or chase, I should say, car chase.
Yep. Well, if you look at the even the on Corellia, that scene is the models of the cars were very much classic muscle cars.
Exactly. So one other of the special edition things is the removal of the eyebrows. I don't have any problem with that.
Well, if you consider the fact that he was terrible playing The Floor is Lava, it makes perfect sense the guy has no hair.
Right.
He was good at it until he lost multiple limbs in one fell swoop. Then he was really, really bad at it.
Yeah. Well, remember his famous line, "I hate you, Obi-Wan, but please give my lightsaber to my son."
Be sure to take this lightsaber and give it to my only begotten son.
That I don't know I have.
Yeah.
That I don't know I have, yeah.
I hadn't been born yet.
because he never finds out because she never says that she's pregnant, right?
Right.
No, he
It's only
knows that
never
she's
finds
pregnant,
out.
but he doesn't know he doesn't know there's
You
twins.
sure are
He doesn't,
fat. Wait, no, sorry, honey.
because the beginning of Sith, she actually tells him that she's pregnant, but she doesn't know. They don't know that she has twins until she's
Oh, that's
actually
right.
in labor.
And then he just knows that she died.
Yeah,
Right, because Palpatine told
He
him.
said the kids died too.
Yeah, yeah. Palpatine says the kids died.
everybody died
Mhm.
at childbirth
Yeah.
or whatever.
Which was, to push him over the edge.
Yeah.
This is another question from John Drake in there, Spencer. For Kevin. Since we know David Prowse refilmed this scene with him in Sebastian Shaw's place, did you ever get to see that scene? You were a former cast member?
No. What do you mean, the original and the reshoot?
Yeah, the question
Yeah.
is kind of blurred.
I didn't see those. I was in England for only those 5 days. It was only Endor, so I didn't see anything else.
That makes sense.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Ooh.
Now, that type of an explosion, what's the fallout on Endor?
Yeah, it's very close to Endor right there.
Yeah.
Well, spoiler alert: half of it goes into one of the lakes,
Oh, that's
in the
true.
oceans.
But is that a different moon of Endor?
Well, Finn did say that's where the final the final battle of the last war. So,
But Endor is the
knows?
planet, and then this is the
This is a
forest
forest
moon.
moon.
yeah,
But it wasn't necessarily a forest moon type planet, whatever, that the Death Star was on, right?
Right. Only the
they did.
the
They
reactor.
alluded that it
or
was,
the
but it really
bunker.
wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you see the cliffs and the water, and you don't see the forest element. So I'm thinking it's a different moon. Yeah,
Right.
Mike says it's a different moon.
So they're saying a different moon.
Anyways, they did it.
Warwick coming out, still in the same. Not Kenny.
Mm-hmm.
Warwick.
Mm-hmm.
That's me. That's Tony.
With the single horn or the dual?
Single horn is me.
Mhm. That's one thing I would love to find out is when Kylo gets the helmet.
What shady Ewok scavenged it?
Exactly.
Kevin?
That was probably me.
Yeah,
There's
Did
a
everything
cutscene.
he
else.
stole it.
Yeah.
The fireworks are kind of fun, celebratory, but I don't know.
You see, I like these. I like these scenes. Obviously showing Bespin and showing the different planets. But my
Yeah.
favorite is when they get to Coruscant and they're pulling, very much like Tiananmen Square, pulling the statue down.
Right.
Yeah.
And also you see the crowd surfing Stormtrooper, which is actually
Yeah.
pretty awesome. Hey, there's Naboo.
On Naboo.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here we are. We're in Coruscant.
They shot
There's
it.
Padme's. There's statue being pulled. Stormtrooper.
Oh yeah, the stormtrooper. You know what? That was the first you said it, and I didn't catch that one.
Uh-huh.
Did you catch that?
That-
Right?
It's a hidden one.
Yeah,
I remember
it's a
seeing it once. I was like, ha.
Yeah, we need the original music back here.
It doesn't have the same vibe.
Yeah.
Even when you see 3PO dancing right there and with the drums that it's just like the beat's completely different.
Yeah. Well, C-3PO is a white guy, so he has no rhythm.
There you go.
Very stiff British white
Yeah.
gentle. Literally in that suit, especially.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it wasn't about. I mean, to be drilled in the face mask was
Right.
drilled
Yeah.
into the side there. You know, so when he put it on in the desert of Tunisia,
Yeah.
or Yuma, Arizona, you know,
Fun times.
yeah.
So was
There was
that
always those pictures of him, you know, with the being held, you know, straight up with a umbrella above him, you know, to
Right.
keep him.
Yeah. It was 110 degrees there. It went from 110 degrees to 65 degrees from Yuma, Arizona to Smith River, California.
Mm.
You know, that's why you see all these. You know, so these guys packing, they have to have all these shorts, and some are, you know, dressed like Lawrence of Arabia, and then go and dress like a lumberjack. You got to pack some clothes.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's always a
Oh, you're
pleasure
welcome.
to have.
That was fun.
Yes.
It's always fun.
Excellent time.
Stories.
Thanks a lot.
But yes. So
And
next week,
what is tough is that when they show Ewoks, it's like, all right, I did all that stuff, and I'm just lumped in with the Ewoks.
yeah.
Right.
But
They
you
should have
have all
more,
these
This is the way it
stories
goes.
and
Yeah.
be able to
Oh yeah.
but
differentiate
it's
a
nice
little
to
bit
see
more.
that.
Well, it's cool that they've named some of the Ewoks, and they're not just generic Ewoks, thanks to the
Toy
the
makers
action
are different
figures and
people.
stuff.
I got a few more though.
Absolutely.
I need to be named.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, let's start a campaign for that. That would be a good idea.
Let's name Kevin.
Yes. Anyway,
Or
ladies and gentlemen.
I like Spencer's. It's a drinking game.
Yes.
And,
Exactly.
it comes on this. Drink so then you got to do 3 quick shots in that one scene where it goes bang, bang, bang. There's 3
Right.
different guys.
Yeah.
It goes bang, bang, bang. So you got to go boom, boom, boom.
That's
And then you have to, you know, then you
gets
have to,
pretty intense towards the end there.
oh yeah. Then you have one.
Well, Kevin,
one
thank you
last
very
shot
much.
at the very end. You're going like
Thank you
this
very
going,
much for jumping on with us.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We'll talk with y'all later.
Thank you.
All right. Have a
Thank
good
you,
one.
sir.
See you next time.
You betcha.
See you, sir. Well, it's always a pleasure to have our good friend Kevin Thompson join us with all those stories, nature. It's always fun.
Oh yeah, that was great.
So well, I'm gonna probably stay up. Well, I'm gonna go sleep and then I'll wake up for WandaVision. But thank you everybody for joining us. Next week we are going to start with the sequel trilogy with Force Awakens. But join us on Tuesday night for the happy hour, where obviously we'll talk about next episode of WandaVision, obviously, but also we're going to talk about Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Anything before we close out?
Nope. Just have a good evening, everyone.
Have a good evening, everybody. And remember, it was Palpatine all along. All right.
All right.
Have a good night, guys. May the Force be with you.
Bye-bye.